Down on the Farm on Family Life. I'm your host, Bob Price, and welcome to a new monthly feature during the Noon Report. On this program, we're spotlighting all things agriculture with Brian Molitor and Jerry Stewart at Balanced Biologics. It's a company devoted to helping farmers through proper soil, crop, and livestock management. Today, we're talking the loss of farmland in New York, the allergy epidemic in America, and we'll do a deep dive as well on the raw milk debate. So let's strap in and take a listen to our first edition of Down on the Farm. New York farmland is disappearing at an astonishing rate. Where is all the farmland gone? New York's lost more than 360,000 acres to solar farms, which are becoming more popular as we delve into the renewables more. I'll start with you, Brian. What can be done to protect our precious farmland, and how can we make our farmland more sustainable?
Yeah, great question. It's important to realize this is not a local issue. This is a national issue. And between 2017 and 2022, we lost over 20 million acres of farmland. And if something doesn't change, we're looking at another 18 million being gone by 2040. You mentioned things like solar farms. Urban sprawl is another reason why this is happening. 15 minutes from where I'm sitting right now, some of the most beautiful, productive farmland is being converted into housing in Michigan. So this is happening all over the place. I think one of the key reasons is some of the farmers are just saying, well, my farm's not productive enough, it's not profitable enough, therefore I need to sell out to these other folks. I know Jerry's had some real personal experience with that, so yeah. I'm sure he's got some thoughts here as well.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't understand. If you don't have farmland, you don't have food. It still comes from the farm. Last I checked, a lot of it doesn't. That's the topic for another day. But what is the net effect of this, Jerry, if we don't reverse this trend?
Well, a couple of things that are leading to this, from what I'm seeing and hearing. Farmers are getting up in age, a lot of them. The next generation either is not interested or there's not enough money to pass it on or what have you. And so when an opportunity comes along, it's just hard to pass that up from a financial standpoint.
I imagine it's probably the same with crop farmers as it is with dairy farmers, that they're dying out. They're just, the next generation isn't there to carry on the family tradition, which is so sad. Brian, I want to move on. Food allergies is a big deal. It's just incredible to see how many things people are allergic to these days. I read a statistic recently, and I can't wait to get your thoughts on this, that cases of food allergies have doubled in this country since the year 2000. What's causing this, and what can be done to stop it, or at least slow it down?
Well, I think people have to understand a food allergy is a pretty simple thing. When a person, young or old, comes in contact with certain foods, they have a negative reaction. But this is where it gets serious, because the reactions either I get mild itching, or it can go all the way up to severe anaphylaxis that can be fatal. Some of the most common food allergies come from milk, eggs, peanuts, fish, shellfish, things like that. Mm-hmm. And, what's amazing is we've got a lot of people studying this. The U.S. Healthcare system is spending about $25 billion a year on food allergies, but there's no cure, and we don't yet even understand what is causing this thing. Why is it happening? And your numbers are right. Over the last couple of decades, an amazing amount of food allergies are being discovered. But here's the one key that I think we have to focus on. This is primarily happening in the most developed countries in the world, including the U.S.
Wow, that's incredible. I got to believe that some of this may have to do, I'm not a scientist nor the son of a scientist, but I'll ask it anyway, Jerry. The preservatives in our food, when you think of terms like shelf life, that should not be in our vocabulary, but it is. Food has a shelf life now. How much of this allergic epidemic going on is because of the preservatives we have in our food today?
Well, it's an interesting way you propose that. If you think about it, and if you look on most labels of all the products, everything is fortified with vitamin A and vitamin D nowadays. And the interesting part about that is is two of the leading nutrients that are affecting these allergies is vitamin A and vitamin D. Vitamin D is sunlight, a lot of that sunlight.
Sure.
But if you think about the last couple decades and where technology has gone, people aren't out as much as they used to be. Kids aren't out as much. And they're not hanging around farms because we just talked about how farmland is decreasing and more and more people are becoming more urban versus being on farms. And so we're getting farther and farther away from what I would call natural food systems, where, we used to go to grandma's house and have fresh picked green beans or peas or something like that.
It just doesn't seem our constitutions are as hardy as they used to be. Brian, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think Jerry's exactly right. We're living a very different lifestyle. I hate to blame food allergies on things like video games, but the reality is we're just not living that outdoor life anymore. We're not getting outside enough. And frankly, what has happened to our food sources with all of the processing, it's an absolute sin as far as I'm concerned. Mm-hmm. That's the bad news. Here's the good news. This is a nation that is awakening right now. Everything from government levels to just the person next door is saying, wait a minute, why are we eating this junk? Why are we putting this into our bodies? And I think some of that $25 billion that the government is spending on figuring this stuff out is going to pay off. But I think just getting rid of some of the junk that has been allowed, in fact, encouraged to be put into our foods and then spraying them with vitamins and all this, I think we're getting away from that. And my sense is in the next 20 years, I think we're going to see a reversal of this thing. Gotcha. At least that's my hope and prayer.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you're reading the labeling and the ingredients in something, if you can't pronounce it on the side of the package, it may not be good. I'm just guessing. I don't know. Brian Molitor and Jerry Stewart, our guests today on this month's edition of Down on the Farm, a monthly feature on family life, talking about agriculture issues, food issues, and it's great to have you guys with us. And if we weren't controversial enough, let's go even further. There is a great debate, guys, in this country right now about whether or not to consume raw milk. Whenever I Google that question, is raw milk safe to drink? The answer I get is no, it is not. Convince me otherwise, Brian, that raw milk is not just safe, but can actually be good for me.
Okay, here's what we want our listeners to understand. Raw milk is simply milk that has not been pasteurized, and pasteurization is a process that heats milk to a specific temperature for a set time to kill certain bacteria. Okay. Like you, when we research this topic, we hear the for and against arguments. Here's some interesting things. Raw milk is legally available in many other nations, including England, New Zealand, France, Italy, Germany, Norway, Sweden, Finland, and Denmark, among others, and it is legally available in 43 American states. So the notion that somebody can answer that question, yes, it is healthy, no, it is unhealthy, is a little foolish. Here's how I'd say it. Unhealthy raw milk is unhealthy, and healthy raw milk is healthy. Now we just have to understand how do you make it healthy, and I think Jerry probably knows how to do that.
Yeah, Jerry. Hey, you set that one right up on the tee for him, Brian. Thank you. Jerry, swing away, my friend.
Wow. Yeah, it's such a loaded question sometimes, and you get in certain audiences. But one thing neat about New York and Pennsylvania, which most of your listeners are from, it is legal to both sell raw milk and purchase it. And I would let people know that they are under strict guidelines of how they can do that. They have a lot of testing that they have to go through to make sure that those farms are meeting the codes with certain bacteria and things. But for your listeners, it's really important that each person, if they are interested in it and want to do it, to purchase that raw milk, make sure you know your farmer. Yeah. Understand their practices. Go see the farm. Go visit with the farmer. Learn how they handle their cows. Learn what they're doing with their crops or soil. Really understand so that you get a good grasp of the real value of that milk, because what's put in is what's coming out with purchase of raw milk.
All right. And raw milk is not whole milk. So I know a lot of folks get confused with that. It's not the same thing. Guys, we've been a lot of places this month on Down on the Farm. Whether you have a question about the lack of farmland or the loss of farmland or food allergies or this whole debate about raw milk, you guys have a wonderful website website where folks can go and learn more about you. Brian, if you would, where is that online?
We'd love to have our new friends stop by at balancedbiologics.com. That's balancedbiologics.com.
And that's Brian Molitor, along with Jerry Stewart, for this month's inaugural edition of Down on the Farm. We're talking all things agriculture, the last Monday of every month, right here on the Family Life Noon Report.